All right. Welcome, everybody, to another day of Read Rich and Righteous, Spiritual Secrets of Mastering Money, Manifestation in Your Mind. So happy to have you here this morning. Rich Rising, Grand Awakening, all that good stuff. Happy that you're here. Just thank God for another day to be alive, to experience this thing called life, to breathe. I'm just so grateful. And I just sit in gratitude right now for this life, for my calling, for my family, my friends, my body, my health, my wealth, my community. Just so much to be grateful for. Can you all in chat just type one thing that you're grateful for? One thing that you're grateful for. One thing. Actually, it's probably going to be hard to do one thing. Just to matter of fact, just flood the comments with what you're grateful for. Just flood the comments with what you're grateful for. What are you grateful for today? I'm grateful for you too, family. Family, my mind, breathing, partnership, children, reaching 37 years of age, breath, health, waking up, divine alignment. Yes. There's always something to be grateful for, family. There is always something to be grateful for. I don't care what is happening in the external conditions, right? There's always something be grateful for. So I celebrate all of you for showing up to do this work. He says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. And that's what we're doing. And we are starting our day by seeking God first. You know, people always put God first, right, in their Instagram bios and things of that nature. But how do you actually know if you're putting God first? You start your day off with God, period. You give the first of your day to God. To be honest, you know, we had this conversation about tithing, and I think we'll get into that a little bit later. Um, what if you tithe the time? What if you tithe a tenth of your waking hours to God? What would that look like? How would that transform your day? How would that transform your day if you tithe a tenth of your waking hours to God? In fact, that's what we're doing. I mean, literally, you're up for 16 hours, right? 16 hours. So that's 1.6 hours times 60 minutes times 60 minutes. So tithing a tenth of our time would be 96 minutes. That would be 96 minutes dedicated to God every single day, purely to God. We know that many of you are walking in your God given purpose, and actually half of you are, and half of you aren't walking in your God given purpose, right? So the other 90%, some of you are staying in alignment with God, and the other 90% for some of you are not, right? But at least we know for this hour that we start our day. Of course, we add on to that our meditation and things of that nature that you might do before or after this. 96 minutes a day would be tithing your time to God, not just money, because the greatest currency is where, family? The greatest currency is in here. This piece of paper. This piece of paper is not the greatest form of currency. So people are tithing off of this, and we're going to get into tithing. This is not what was biblically, this is not what was meant to be tithed. In the Bible, you tithe from your livestock, you tithe from your grains, and you tithe from your fruit. You tithe from things that God multiplied. Okay. There was no tithing of money. There was offerings of money, but there was no tithing of money. So many of you have been duped. You've been tithing to the wrong temple. You're supposed to be tithing to this temple. You're supposed to be giving a tenth back unto yourself to grow and develop yourself. Otherwise, where does your growth and development come from? It just is supposed to magically happen. So first and foremost, we want to tithe back into our temple. The kingdom is here. Your body is a temple. God does not dwell in temples made with the hands of man. So what is the only temple that is not made with the hands of man? That is this temple right here. So first, we're supposed to tithe to our own temple, not to some building. Okay. And then on top of that, what would your life look like if you tithe a tenth of your waking hours to God? If you gave the first 96 minutes of your day to God? That's what we've been doing. We've been tithing our time to God. And I know that you will be rewarded for this level of obedience and this level of alignment. I know that you will be rewarded for this level of obedience and this level of alignment. So we're continuing our reading of Rich and Righteous Spiritual Secrets and Mastering Money Manifestation in Your Mind. If you have not got the book, you can go to moneyandmanifestation.com. I pinned that. That's moneyandmanifestation.com. You can go get the book. And you get 5 copies for the price of one when you go to that website. If you go to Amazon, it's one book for $100. Okay. But if you go to moneymanifestation.com, you get 5 copies of the book for $100. Plus, you get the rituals workbook right here, which is all the exercises at the end of the chapters to anchor these principles into your life. And you also get the audio book. All right. So that is there. Now, anybody who is in lack, a temporary state of lack. Okay. I'm lacto intolerance. I'm lacto. Everybody type that. I'm lacto intolerance. I'm Jamaican. I can still eat a little bit of dairy. I'm trying to get off of it though. It's so good sometimes though. But I'm lacto intolerance. Right. So if you are in a temporary state of lack right now, right, then you are being commanded to actually learn how to ask. And so what's been beautifully happening in the Facebook group is that people have been actually giving away the extra copies of their books. They've been giving the extra copies of their books away through the Facebook group. And so if you are in a temporary state of lack right now, then you can go to our Facebook group at facebook.com. We've been growing really fast. Facebook.com/groups/rich and righteous. So if you're on YouTube, you can open up a new tab right now and go to facebook.com/groups/rich and righteous. Right. And you can ask, you can actually, before you ask for a book, look for someone who has already posted to give a book away. Okay. Before you just go in there and start typing, hey, I want a book. There are actually posts. Where people are saying, I'm looking to give a book away. And so you just comment on them and you start the communication, exchange addresses. And if you have the ability to cash app them for at least shipping, right? If you have the ability to cash app them for at least shipping, then do that, right? You may not have $100 to buy the book on your own, but you may have $10 to actually at least pay for shipping. You want to make, see, this is a lesson right now, family. The lesson is you want to make it as easy as possible to give to you. This is the lesson. Listen very carefully. You want to make it as easy as possible for someone to give to you. And when as above, so below, when you learn that, what will happen is, guess what? You will start to learn to make it as easy as possible for God to give to you. Many of you are blocking your own blessings. God is ready to pour into you in your life right here and right now, but you have mental blockages. You are literally repelling and stopping God from giving to you based on your mindset, based on your actions, based on your behaviors. And so this whole economy that we've created around the book is an opportunity for those who have to develop the giving muscle. We're teaching them how to give. And at the same time, those who need to develop their asking muscle, we're teaching them how to ask. You have not because you ask not. All right. So don't say I'm in lack. I'm in a temporary state of lack. I'm in a temporary state of need. And I would like to receive a book for anybody who has an extra book, right? So we ask from a place of need, genuine need, not neediness. So today we are on page 276. 276. We've been here for about 2.5 months now. We actually, it's been 2.5 months that we've been on this journey every weekday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every weekday, we have not missed a day. This is what consistency looks like. And consistency is how you build momentum. And so that's what we were doing. That's what we were demonstrating. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing. So again, we are reading Rich and Righteous, Spiritual Secrets and Mastering Money Manifestation in Your Mind. You should see the link to get the book pinned on Instagram or on YouTube. If YouTube acts up today or my internet connection acts up, we have a backup on Instagram. Just immediately go to Instagram if YouTube acts up. And if Instagram acts up, then please go to YouTube. All right. We always have a backup. So we're going to begin our reading now. We have 7 pages to read. So let's get it in. Today, we're talking about how to acquire more assets. And the true title of this chapter should be How to Acquire More Assets Outside of Yourself. Because where's the greatest asset, family? Where is the number one asset? Where or what is the number one asset? Where or what is the number one asset? It is you. It is your mind. It is your consciousness. That is the number one asset. So this chapter would be more accurately titled How to Acquire More Assets Outside of Yourself. Okay. But the first asset that we invest in, the first temple that we invest in, the first form of real estate that we invest in is right here. This is the temple that we were supposed to be tithing to the entire time. but religion duped you. Religion duped you to actually give to some building. Why are they still asking for a building fund when church is on Zoom now? Why are they still asking for a building fund when church is on Zoom? We have one of the most powerful, for lack of a better word, I don't want to call this anything, but for lack of a better word, we have one of the most powerful churches in the world right now. 600 of us showing up here every single day. Their churches only operate once a week at full capacity. Yeah, they have some classes on weeknights and things of that nature, but their churches only operate once a week at full capacity. That is the worst form of real estate investment. You're telling me you're going to build out this entire stadium and you're only going to use it once a week at full capacity? You're only going to use it once a week at full capacity? Come on, y'all. Y'all got to see it. Wolves in sheep clothing. All right. So let's get it in. How to acquire more assets outside of yourself. Okay. The Lord will make you abound in prosperity in the offspring of your body and in the offspring of your beast, in the produce of your ground, in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give you. Okay. Deuteronomy 28:11. According to Robert Kiyosaki, an asset has value, produces income, or appreciates, and has a ready market. Assets put money in your pocket. Asset alchemist, which is what we are. Everybody type asset alchemist. You are an asset alchemist. You are taking all of these ethereal substances, all of these unseen substances, and these material. You're taking these ethereal and material substances. The ethereal meaning the unseen, right? An idea is ethereal. You're taking these ethereal and these material substances, and you're weaving them together in some way to create. Remember, I came, I created, I circulated, I contributed. I came, I created, I circulated, I contributed. That was our affirmation as we closed yesterday. So you are an asset alchemist. Asset alchemists combine their capital, personal, intellectual, social, financial, human, and physical, to create and acquire more assets that create more capital on their own. Through appreciation and or cash flow, this accumulation of assets creates wealth over time. The American dream teaches you to focus on two of the lowest yielding assets in the world, which are cash and single family homes. That's what the American dream teaches you. It literally told you to go after two of the lowest yielding assets in the world, cash and a single family home. For instance, at no point does a single family home put money in your pocket unless you sell it. So I'm happy for you if you bought a single family home and it has experienced extreme appreciation. I'm happy for you. But you do not truly get to benefit from that unless you sell it or you take out a home equity line of credit or refinance and actually use that money to multiply it. If your home happens to appreciate, the appreciation only covers the interest to the bank. When the mortgage is paid off after 30 years, it is replaced by maintenance. So you've been duped to actually go after two of the lowest yielding assets in the entire world. All right. This is why I teach multifamily real estate. It is the only form of housing that actually pays you, right? That actually pays you. So we're on the second paragraph of page 276. We are playing chess, not checkers. The game is more complex and requires strategy. Cash is not king. Cash only yields 0.03% in a savings account and depreciates over time due to inflation. Listen to this. Assets are queens, cash flow is king, and cash is pawn. You were taught that cash is king. No, it is not. Cash is actually pawn. And I'm going to show you the image. Okay? I'm going to show you the image. So take a screenshot of this. Okay? Assets are queens. Queen is the most powerful piece on the board. Queens give birth to kings, which is cash flow. So when I buy some multifamily real estate, that produces cash flow for me. Cash flow leads to more pawns, which is cash. And I take those pawns, right, that cash, and I put it back and I acquire another queen. In the game of chess, you will happily acquire another queen. You will sacrifice your pawns to acquire another queen. It is the exact same when it comes to money. Okay. So queens are assets. Assets give birth to kings. Queens give birth to kings, period. Kings are cash flow. Cash flow leads to more pawns, which is cash. You take those pawns, you sacrifice those pawns, right, to buy more queens. Is this understood? Okay. So the idea that cash is king is a lie. It is a low, literally, cash is the lowest yielding asset in the world. Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the world. Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the world. Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the world. Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the world. Yet that's what you've been taught to chase. I don't know what I got to do to get that through your head. Cash is the lowest yielding asset in the world. It has a negative return when you account for inflation. It has a negative return when you account for inflation. It has a negative return when you account for inflation. Yet you are trading your time, the currency that is in your body, the energy that is in your body, for the lowest yielding asset in the world. That is a terrible trade. That is a terrible trade. That is the worst thing that you can do with your God-given energy. There are several types of assets. We're on page 277 now. There are several types of assets to acquire to build wealth. Passive assets that appreciate over time, like stocks. Passive cash flowing assets like dividend paying stocks, REITs, or loans. Semi-passive assets that generate cash flow, like a vending machine. Semi-passive assets that appreciate and generate cash flow, like multifamily real estate. Active cash flowing assets, like an owner operated business, which also appreciates in value as the cash flow increases. Okay, so those are the 5 types. Now we're on page 278. Assets can shift categories based on your level of daily engagement. Passive means that you set it and forget it. Semi-passive means that you have to pay some attention to it. And active means that you are fully engaged and in control of the growth. All right. So you need 3 types of streams. You need an active stream, right, which you're actively engaged in. You need a passive, semi-passive stream that you are somewhat engaged in, and then you need passive. So you need to find your business model at each level. You need all 3. Okay. You need an active, you need a semi-passive, and then you need a passive, right? So for me, my active is actually teaching as a real estate educator through the multifamily movement. That's my active. My semi-passive is my own real estate portfolio and some of my other businesses. And then my 100% passive is my stocks and my Forex. Okay. So those are the 3 that you need to build wealth. Okay. Appreciation is based on the larger market supply and demand. So our only control is when we choose to buy and when we sell. The type of asset that tends to give you the most control and potential for wealth generation is an active cash flowing asset. Over time, you can put people and processes in place for it to become passive, but initially, it will likely be led by you. And as you build it and the cash flow becomes more predictable, it also appreciates in value because someone may be willing to buy that income stream at a certain multiple. Yes, our ultimate goal is to buy income. You've been taught to try to make income when the actual goal is to buy income. You've been taught to try to make income, and that is the initial step. But once you've achieved that and you're doing that predictably, then after that, you actually want to buy income. I know that concept. What do you mean, Jullien? Buy income? Yes, that is the ultimate goal, is to buy income. When I buy a multifamily home, I'm literally buying income. Okay? So I'm buying income. So we're on the 3rd paragraph of page 278. Active cash flowing assets include products, processes, people, patents, and properties that create money with a certain level of predictability. For instance, a multifamily home produces rental income with a degree of certainty each month. A Shopify, Etsy, or eBay store may have products that yield a certain amount of sales each day with a certain degree of effort or advertising. Or the team and the processes you built may deliver a service that generates a predictable amount of sales and cash flow for you as the investor or entrepreneur every year. Okay. There are 6 ways to acquire more assets. Listen to this. You be it, buy it, build it, bust your butt for it, borrow it, or barter for it. And we're going to go through each one. An honest assessment of your 6 forms of capital will help you determine which method is best for you to begin with. If you have cash on hand, you may buy assets. If you have credit, you may borrow assets. If you have time and talent, you may build it. Okay? So here's a chart on page 279. You can try to screenshot this really quickly. And if you can't see it clearly, you can always get the book. It's at moneyandmanifestation.com. Okay. These are some of the things that you miss out on when you're just hearing me read it. Okay. So this chart lays out in the most simplest form examples of be it, buy it, build it, bust your butt for it, borrow it, barter for it. Examples, pros of being it, cons of being it. So for instance, a pro of being it is that you get to make money being yourself. Okay, that's a pro of being it. This is an example of Oprah, right? But the con of being it is that the entire business is tied to you. That's the con of being it. So that kind of business could actually be harder to sell because it's personality based, right? So these things are all laid out for you on the chart at the top of page 279. All right, 279. All right. So we're going to go into be it. Be it. Being the asset means developing a personal brand that in and of itself is valuable. Oprah Winfrey is one of the best examples of personal branding. The Oprah Winfrey Show was named after her. O Magazine is named after her company, and she is featured on every cover. Her TV network is called OWN, which stands for Oprah Winfrey Network. Did you all know that? How many of y'all knew that? That OWN, even though she was moving into ownership, it was very powerful branding. OWN, she was saying, I'm no longer being on someone else's platform. I'm going to own my own platform. But that not only do I own this own platform, it actually stands for Oprah Winfrey Network, right? And her production company, Harpo, is her first name spelled backwards. Did y'all know that? Did you know that Harpo was Oprah spelled backwards? This woman is a master brander. This is a woman is a master brander. She is on every cover of her own magazine. I ain't putting nobody else on the cover. All right. So Oprah is a great example. Okay. It will be interesting to see what happens to her companies when she transitions, since they are so centered around her as the brand. Nonetheless, a personal brand can be leveraged into real estate, real assets. Kim Kardashian, Logan Paul, and Ryan Kaji are some other examples of people who have leveraged their personal brands into assets beyond themselves. Attention and audience are assets. So Ryan Kaji is the little kid who's making millions just talking about toys on YouTube. Okay. Number 2, buy it. The next way is buying assets. Since money is the most liquid form of capital, you can use it to acquire assets that other people built that will produce cash flow and or appreciate. Some of those investments may be purely passive, while others are active, meaning that you will be engaged in making the asset perform better. As counterintuitive as this may seem, you are buying income. You are buying income. You are using your active income to buy passive income. You are using your active income to buy passive income. This is how you break free from the time for money trap. Buying assets is one of the quickest ways to give cash consciousness. The goal is to find undervalued or underutilized assets, acquire them at a discount, and increase their performance. Okay, the goal is to find undervalued or underutilized assets, acquire them at a discount, and increase their performance. All right. Number 3, build it. This is your next option. You also have the option to build an asset yourself. Examples include building a company from scratch or a loyal audience on a YouTube channel. Your company or audience may not pay in the short term, but you believe that you will reap what you sow in terms of income and appreciation over time. When a company's income increases and becomes more predictable, in addition to yielding cash flow today, it also appreciates because an investor who wants to buy income or believes that they can grow the income and value may buy the company at a multiple of 5 times the current income or revenues. Okay. So your increase in income also means an increase in equity if the asset is based on systems and not just your personal brand. So for instance, if you've built a laundry place, right? A laundromat, and it is now it now has $100,000 in income per year, and you've done that over 3 years. That $100,000 is not just your net worth. There may be somebody who wants to buy $100,000 of predictable income and may be willing to pay you $500,000 for that because they think that they're going to hold this laundromat for 10 years, which would make them $1 million. So that's the beautiful thing about building businesses that aren't solely based on you, that are based on systems, because every time the income grows, you get to benefit from that income in the here and now, but you're also increasing the value of that asset as well. Okay. Number 4, bust your butt for it. This is what most people are doing. This means selling your most valuable asset, which is your time and talent, for money. Okay. This is working on the corporate plantation. This includes employees, the self-employed entrepreneurs, and operating entrepreneurs. This is the easiest place for many people to start. Even though time is your most valuable asset, at the same time, it costs you nothing because it is freely given to you by God. The problem with being an employee is that your ass, the problem with being an employee is that your ass is building someone else's asset. Everybody type that. My ass is building somebody else's asset. Everybody type that. If you on the corporate plantation, type that. I just need you. I'm going to make it real for you. My ass is building somebody else's asset. Type that. My ass is building somebody else's asset. I just want you to be, I'm just trying to make it plain for you. My ass is building someone else's asset. Y'all don't want to type it. Okay. That's all right. Y'all know I ain't lying. Said, I'm not typing that. My ass is building somebody else's asset. That's exactly what's happening. Even if you bust your butt, it doesn't guarantee higher pay, especially when they have you on salary. You may get a bonus or a raise or a promotion, but those decisions are in someone else's hands. A job is a source of income, but it is not an asset. A job is a source of income, but it is not an asset. You can't hand, I can't believe I wrote that in the book. I wrote that in the book, y'all. I actually wrote that in the book. That's all right. Y'all gonna remember it though. Y'all gonna remember it though. Dang, you gonna be there after lunch break. Damn, my ass is building somebody else's ass. Y'all gonna remember it, right? Cool. We at the top of page 281. A job is a source of income, but it is not an asset. Okay. You can't hand down a job to your children. 40 hours per week times 50 weeks per year times 40 years is 80,000 hours. 80,000 hours. That is 80,000 hours put into building assets for other people in exchange for money, which is the lowest yielding asset in the world. That's $80,000 hours of your life put into building assets for other people in exchange for some paper money, which is the lowest yielding asset in the world. Just think about that. 80,000 hours that you've given to help somebody build their assets. Though self-employed is usually the next phase, it is not the final destination. Most self-employed people have simply created a job for themselves rather than a sustainable company. If something were to happen to them, their company would die the next day. If something were to happen to them, their company would die the next day. Taking your financial potential into your own hands is powerful, but to get from self-employed to entrepreneur, you have to go from self-reliance to systems. Taking your financial potential into your own hands is powerful, okay? But it is temporary. To get from self-employed to entrepreneur, you have to go from self-reliance to systems, okay? So for those of you who are self-employed, you're not an entrepreneur yet. Just because you got an LLC, just because you started a company, if that company would die if you did, then you're not truly an entrepreneur yet. You're self-employed. You created a job for yourself. You must generate enough profit to pay people and create processes to hire those people to execute. An entrepreneur still works hard, but it looks different. Instead of working in the business, they work on the business. Okay? Instead of working in the business, they work on the business. All right? Yes, please like and share this video so that we can break these algorithms and crack this code. We have 351 people on YouTube today. We only have 164 likes at the moment. So for those of you who are on YouTube, please just take this little finger right here and just go boop. Just do that. That's all I'm asking for you. I didn't ask you to pay for this space. I ain't sent around the collection plate like your minister 3 times. They got the love offering and the building offering, and then how many offerings you gonna have, man? And where is this money going? Why is that light still flickering up there? Why we still got these old seats, these old burgundy seats with holes in it? Why them robes got stains on them? Where's all this money I've been giving you going? Just show me, please. Please, just show me where the money is going. Why your car the newest thing out? Why your car the newest thing out here? Why you so? Why you looking so fresh? Why you so happy? It ain't because you serving the Lord. No, you don't got the 2024 Cadillac. You got the 2025 Cadillac. You know who drives Cadillacs, right? Pimps drive Cadillacs. Pimps, they drive Cadillacs. Well. Oh, goodness gracious. I can't wait. This whole thing gonna crumble, family. It's gonna crumble. When people start waking up, you've been spiritually pimped. All right. Cool. Oh my goodness. Y'all see it, but the masses don't see it yet. It's all good. They're gonna wake up. Okay, number 5. Number 5. Borrow it. Borrow it. All right, borrow it. You can borrow someone else's asset to build yours. This is a viable option for people with credit. A licensing agreement is an example of borrowing an asset that someone else created to create profit for yourself. In real estate, when someone acquires property using a mortgage, they are borrowing the asset. In this case, it is the bank's money, which is really your own money. They agree to make monthly payments in exchange for full control over the property. Multifamily investors get to benefit from the cash flow, appreciation, principal paydown, and tax savings while also living for free in the asset if it is owner occupied. There are not too many other assets that you can also live in. This is why multifamily real estate is so powerful, right? It means that multifamily real estate is so powerful because you can't live in your stock portfolio. You can't live in your NFT. You can't live in your cryptocurrency. I've seen Asians live in their business. Them Asians, they don't be leaving the massage parlor, family. They be sleep in the back, living in their business. Hey, I ain't knocking it. How you gonna be open 24/7? If I pulled up with a group of 6 right now, how are we all getting massages at 1 a.m.? Because you live there. You live there. You live in a spa. You live in a spa. That ain't that bad of a deal, right? You live in a spa. But overall, it ain't overall, it ain't that many assets that you can live in. Okay? I ain't knocking it. This is not a joke. I ain't knocking it. They willing to sacrifice, family. Some of y'all ain't willing to make that kind of sacrifice. Okay? I'm clowning today, y'all. I'm clowning today. Childlike in me. Being around my daughter bring out the childlike in me. All right. Where am I? There are not too many other assets you can also live in. Though the money is borrowed, it is good debt that pays for itself. The investor is converting the initial liability into a cash flowing asset, and the financial benefits outweigh the cost of borrowing. If you have no money at the moment, you can borrow someone's weed whacker, not weed, okay? Because that's what some of y'all do. You ain't got no money. How you ain't got no money, but you still rolling up or you still rolling up weed? Huh? How you ain't got no money, but you still getting blowed every day? Make that make sense. But you got no money. Okay. It does not say borrow someone else's weed. Okay. It says borrow someone else's weed whacker or lawnmower and start a lawn care business right now. Okay. Not only am I in a childlike state right now, but I think when I wrote this chapter, I was in a childlike state. It's jokes in here, family. It's jokes in here. You can borrow a white label product and brand it. As a franchise, you can even borrow an entire brand and business model. There's nothing wrong with borrowing to build assets, only borrowing to buy liabilities. Okay? There's nothing wrong with borrowing to build assets. The only time it's wrong to borrow is when you're buying liabilities. All right? Last paragraph, last page, 282. Number 6, barter for it. Finally, the most overlooked way to acquire an asset is bartering. Bartering is powerful because there's no revenue to tax. If we were really organized as a community, we could be exchanging gifts and services and talents without getting taxed on it. But we're not organized. Because the moment that I pay you and that hits you as revenues, I get hit with a sales tax, or once it hits your bottom line as profit, now you get taxed. But if we just could barter, right? The government wouldn't know. The tax of bartering is the time it takes to find someone who needs exactly what you have that also has exactly what you need. That's the challenge of bartering. Sports teams barter with players. Okay. You look at all these NBA and NFL players and you think that they free because they're making a lot of money. They ain't nothing but slaves on the trading block, family. Their owner is literally called the owner. Their owner can trade them to another team tomorrow. You wake up and you have to move you and your entire family somewhere else tomorrow. That sounds like a slave to me. That sounds like a slave to me. Okay. Sports teams barter with players under contract all of the time. They trade because they believe a player or package of players will be more valuable to their financial future than the ones they are giving up. You may barter something you have or can do to get something you need to do what you want to do. Who do you know that has something you need that you would value a relationship with you? That would value. Who do you know that has something you need that would value a relationship with you? Okay. The use of some equipment you have or a skill that you have. Excuse me. Who do you know that has something you need that would value a relationship that you have? That's how it's supposed to read. The use of some equipment that you have or a skill you have. Your capitals can be exchanged for more than money. Your 6 forms of capitals can be exchanged for more than money. Last paragraph on page 282. The problem is never money, family. The problem is never money. And I want to celebrate. We have 630 people here today. So I want to celebrate that. The problem is never money. It is always mindset and creativity. Okay? Listen to me. The problem is never money. It is always mindset and creativity. The only two that really require money up front is buying it or building it. Look at your life with an abundance mindset and assess what assets you already have. What is your personal, intellectual, social, financial, human, and physical capital? From there, decide what kinds of assets you want to have. And then ask yourself, how can I use what I already have to get what I want to have? That will help you determine which of the 6 ways above will be the best route for you to acquire the next asset you want to manifest. So just to recap, cash is not king. Cash is pawn. Assets are queens. Queens give birth to kings, and kings lead to pawns. And then in the game of chess, as Nipsey Hussle said, we're playing chess, not checkers. In the game of chess, you will happily sacrifice a pawn, which is cash, to acquire another queen, right? And then we have several options to acquire more assets outside of ourselves. We can be it, okay? We can buy it. We can build. So be it means you creating a personal brand or YouTube channel. Buy it means a multifamily home or stocks. Build it means building a company or an audience. Bust your butt for it means a job or working for clients as a consultant. Borrow it means you could borrow Airbnb or Turo. You borrow a car, you lease it, and then you rent it out and make more money off the margin. Or you barter for it, just in exchange of your existing assets for somebody else access to someone else's assets. All right. So those are our options, right? And you know that notice that these chapters, when we're talking about use of money in the material realm, in the earthly realm, they're more straightforward, more kind of financial literacy, right? But we're gonna elevate back up to the financial spirituality as we come out of this chapter. We have one more section here, and tomorrow's reading is actually only 3 pages. So tomorrow's reading will be short. We'll be going over, is it expensive or expansive? This is the question. This is the singular question you have to ask yourself whenever you're reaching into your pocket or your purse to buy something. Is it expensive or expansive? And we're going to be covering that tomorrow. All right. So, with that, if you're just joining us, you have no clue what you stepped into. We're reading Rich and Righteous, Spiritual Secrets of Mastering Money Manifestation in Your Mind. We are here at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every weekday. We've been here since mid-November, 2.5 months. Haven't missed a day. This is our financial church. This is where we explore financial spirituality and reset our mind around abundance and around how we relate to money. If you would like a copy of the book, you can go to moneyandmanifestation.com. Again, that's moneyandmanifestation.com. It is pinned on YouTube and Instagram. When you buy the book, you get 5 copies. Okay. 1 for you and 4 for you to give away. Okay. 1 for you and 4 for you to give away. Why do I do that? Because it will stimulate your personal economy. As you give, so you shall receive. So the reason you're not receiving what you desire in life because you're not giving enough in a sustainable way. And so I'm literally setting you up to give these books to bless other people, and you're going to experience what it's like to be a blessing to other people. If you just buy the book for yourself, then guess what? That's actually selfish because you're just getting the knowledge for yourself. But now you get to give the book to people around you who you want to build with and whose consciousness, wealth consciousness, you want to elevate. You also get the rituals workbook, which are all the exercises that you see at the end of the chapters. And then finally, you also get the audio book. So that is there. Today, I also did talk about real estate a lot, multifamily real estate. You know, I'm leader of the multifamily movement. That is one of my most beautiful manifestations. We had 1,500 people in Atlanta for our generational wealth conference a couple of weeks ago. It was absolutely powerful. If you want to become part of that community, I do have a webinar tonight. At 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you'll be with me twice today, and you can sign up for that webinar at rentfree.com. Rentfree.com. Okay. So if you're trying to, if rent is too damn high for you, if you're trying to not renew your lease this year, if you're trying to own multifamily real estate, which I believe is one of the most powerful assets in the world outside of yourself, then you can join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where if you are multifamily movement here, type MFM. If you're in the multifamily movement, type MFM just to let the family know that how deep we are. We see our communities coming together. We see the rich and righteous community coming together. We see the multifamily movement community coming together. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So if you're a multifamily movement, you see that, y'all? We deep. So we as a multifamily movement, we focus on 2 forms of real estate. One, the mental real estate up here, right? Rebuilding this temple. And then we also focus on investing in multifamily real estate, which is the asset that we choose to focus on outside of ourselves. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing that's happening. We're working in the spiritual realm and the earthly realm. And when you combine those 2 things, you can see the manifestations not only in my own life, but also in the growth of my movement and the results of all of my students. We've closed on hundreds and hundreds of properties all across the country in the past 3.5 years, and over $250 million of real estate we have acquired. And so for those of you who are investing in your temple, those of you considering any other online courses, make sure that you see the creators' results. Okay. Ask for their results. Don't just look at their lifestyle. Look at how many lives they've changed. Okay. I can show you over 400 documented results that my students have of closing on properties all across the country. Okay. Do not be enamored by their lifestyle. Instead, ask, how many people have you helped? How many lives have you changed? And if they can't show you that, then keep it pushing, family. If they can't show you whatever you're looking for, if you're trying to start government contracting, if you're trying to start a barber business, if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, whatever you're looking to learn, ask to see their results, family. You have to judge the tree by its fruit, not by how pretty the apple looks, but by the fruits. Okay. Some of these course creators are making more off of you, right, than they are making for you. Some of these course creators are making more off of you than they're making for you. Okay. I know for a fact that my students have acquired almost $250 million of real estate. Okay. I know for a fact. I don't have $250 million of real estate myself. So collectively, they are experiencing more abundance than I have, but I actually am experiencing abundance because I'm helping them experience abundance. So that's just a little mindful. In fact, we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll get into that more tomorrow when we talk about, is it expensive or expansive? Your decision making when it comes to you actually releasing money, right? And where you place the money that you are in stewardship of. All right. So again, the Facebook group. Yes, the Facebook group. Our Facebook group where you can actually ask for a book if you are in a temporary state of lack is facebook.com/groups/rich and righteous. Okay. Rich and righteous. That's facebook.com/groups/rich and righteous. Go join us there. I will let folks in about 5 minutes. So I'll give you an opportunity to go over there. If somebody can type that in on Instagram, that's facebook.com/groups/rich and righteous, and I'll meet you there. If you need a book, there's no reason that nobody here should have a book. If you need a book, go into the Facebook group, look for a post of someone who says, I'm looking to give away my extra copies, and then comment or message them on Facebook and connect. All right. We are in the process, in case you didn't know, of building the richest family in the world. We are creating the richest family in the world. That is the mission and the vision here. What I mean by that, that's 100,000 people, right? With $1 million net worth. That would be $100 billion. $100 billion. That would make us the fifth wealthiest family in the world. We are multiplying through consciousness, not through procreation. And that's what's so powerful about this internet. That's what's so powerful about consciousness. If we get enough people on one accord, we can actually achieve that. And this is a 30 to 50 year vision. I don't think it'll take 30 to 50 years, but that is what I am committed to. And the reason I'm able to do that is because I'm 100% financially free. I don't have to work a day in my life again if I choose not to. Okay. I don't have to. But I got free so that I could walk in my God given purpose without having to focus on money. Right. Without having to focus on money. Money does not dictate any of my decisions in my life. Money does not dictate any decision that I make. And so that's what freed me up to focus all of my energy on helping and supporting you. See, most of these ministers out here, when do they start a church? Most of these ministers out here, when do they start a church, family? When they broke. How can I pimp? When do they start a church? And I have no intentions of starting a church, but I'm serving right after I've already got mine. I don't need anything from any of you. I don't need anything from any of you. I'm already supplied for. I'm already in an abundant state of being. So this allows me to just give. I've never sent around a collection plate. I see some of you giving me badges and things of that nature, but I don't need anything from you. I don't ask anything of you. I get to serve just because this is what my heart desires. This is what God told me to do. God nudged me mid-November, said, go read your book. The book that I gave you, go read it to the people. So that's what I do. And I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry if my bills are going to be paid. Right? So this is one of the most powerful places to serve from, because I don't need anything from anybody that I'm serving. All right. So I want you to experience this, and it'll take time. You know, I've been on this journey since January 9th, 2009. I quit my job at the bottom of the last recession. So it's been 13 years to get to this state. 13 years, right? And I hope that I can accelerate that process for you. Okay. I hope that I can accelerate that process for you. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, cool. So I will see you all. I will see you all tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Set a phone alarm. I do not want to bombard you with emails and text messages. So if you truly want this space in your life, then just set a phone alarm and put it on repeat for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Again, you can get the book at moneyandmanifestation.com. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a blessed and abundant day. All right. Much love, y'all. Peace.